All right, let's get started. So, I know I said this was going to be the playthrough, and it is. Trust me. There's two parts of the setup that I saved for this, and that's where we go through our cards and decide what starting cards we want to have. Technically, that's part of the setup, but I wanted that to be part of the playthrough because some of this is that there's a teach period here. And I don't know how to teach this game quickly. I truly don't. It took me 45 minutes with my friends. If you look at Paul Grogan and any of the other teach videos, those are 45 minutes to an hour long. I think the best thing I can do is I'm going to just explain it as I go. And this could be disastrous because there's so many things you have to know in order to just start the game. But that's what we're going to do. So first things first, we're supposed to set up the game and play normally through a few sections. So these starting marker cards, every player, I'm just going to shuffle a little bit. Every player is given 2 of them to start. Now, one of the things you can do is, so these are the cards that aren't going to be part of my 2, is if you look on the bottom of these, see how they have a number on them? So if it's truly your first game ever, and you don't want to do this method, this is the normal method, by the way, and then what I'm showing you here is the beginner method, is just pick a number. There's up to 6 of them. Any of the numbers are fine. Start with number 1, right? And so if you pick number 1, then there's a number 1 in here as well. See how there's a 6 on this one? There's going to be a number 1 in here, and there's a number 1 in every deck of cards. So here's perfect example. Here's the number 6, the guard tower. So there's going to be a number 1 in every deck of cards. So you would literally just start with number 1 of everything. And that's it. You don't have to make any decisions. Now for us though, we get the top 2 cards of every deck. And we're going to pick 1 of each. So you always start the game with 1 of every card. So no matter how you get there, this one, you have a little bit more flexibility, right? Because you get to look at the cards ahead of time. And then you pick 1 of each. But like I said, if you would have picked 1 or even 6 in this case, you would just grab this card. It has the number 6 on it. And then you would have all the cards that say 6, and then you're done. Okay, so we happen to have all of these plus those, and then we're going to we have to choose 1 of each. Then after we choose 1 of each, we're then going to take 2 of these, and they're going to have a goal on them, and we get to pick 1. It's always 1 more than the number of players. But since there's only myself, we're doing 2 of them. It doesn't actually say how I'm supposed to resolve this particular piece. It says set up the game as if it's a 2-player game. In a 2-player game, technically there's 3 of them. Right? I get to choose 1 of the 3. So I'm going to put 3 of them out there. And then of course the rest are just going to these will go back in the game box, and then after we choose 1 of these, it's going to dictate some of our setup, and then these starting marker cards are also going back in the game box as well. So lots of stuff, you use it just once and then you're done. So I'm going to put the starting markers in and the starting chips as well, so at least get those going. Okay. Well, how on earth am I going to choose all these? And how does that portray to the rules? Well, remember I said I was going to try to skip the 45-minute teach, but this is where a lot of this is going to become important. So each of these colored cards is associated with each of the progress tracks that you see here. So you can see that the brown is technology, blue is construction. Green is, what is that? Prestige. I'm trying to read it through the camera. Orange is, what is orange? Innovation, insight. And then green is mutation. And purple is achievement. Actually, they call it culture there. So we have cards that are the same color as those tracks. It's loosely correlated. I don't want to say it's exactly correlated, but you're going to get one of each. And of course, they give you two, and you get to pick which one you want to keep. The other one goes to the bottom of the deck. You also get these starting markers. So no matter which starting marker I pick, I'm just going to put these down in front of you here. No matter which starting marker you pick, and this is true for all the cards. The bottom part is always identical. It's sort of interesting that they even bothered to do that. You start the game with 1 food, which is going to go here, and then 1, 2 money, which is going to go here. And whenever you fill in the food and the money, you always want to fill in the column first before you move to the next column. And I'll show you why that's important. There's this concept called prosperity in the game, and here you can see there's diamonds at the bottom, and then diamonds at the bottom here. By having this column full of money, I'm going to have 1 prosperity because of that. And then if I had a column full of food, I have another prosperity, etc., etc. So that's these two. And then this one here is a focus, which goes here. You can see the symbol matches. And here, these two, that's a symbol for ideas, which is right here. You get 2 of those. So no matter which one I choose, the bottom is always the same. And it doesn't matter how many players, like I said, every card, it's the same. The part that's different on the cards is the top. So this one is saying, I'm going to start with that resource and that resource, which is, if you look over here, this one is coal, and the other one is clay. So I would have these 2 resources at the start of the game if I choose this card. Then this is saying intelligence, and we always call it the lips, but the Mick Jagger. But here, your civilization has traits. So there's stamina, intelligence, composure, dexterity, expressiveness, we call it the Mick Jagger, and the vision, right, the eyeball. So we would have 1 intelligence and 1 expression if I choose this one. Whereas over here, I would also have a coal, but I would have a jade and a dexterity and a composure. So that's where you get the slight variation in what you're going to start the game with. So which one do you choose? Well, the answer to that question is you're going to look at the rest of your cards. And this is where the card play comes in. So let's start with the 2 brown cards. So we're going to try to choose one of these, right? So I have musical instruments on the left and crane on the right. So the way these work is, if I want to build this card as a stage 1, and I haven't explained what stages are yet, but if I want to build it as a stage 1, I need to pay 1 wood. If I want to build it as a stage 2, I would have to pay 1 wood and 1 iron ore. But I would also score 2 points. And then here, in order to build stage 2, I would need 2 wood, right? 1 for each. This one on the left gives me an immediate effect. That's what the lightning bolt is. I move up 2 on the tech track and 1 on the culture track. This one on the right, I get no immediate effect. But whenever I build a settlement, its building cost is reduced by 1 stored material of my choice. So, so basically I can produce it for 1 less resource. The crane is pretty good. Moving up these tracks is also good. To be honest, I like both of them. Wood is going to be really easy for us to get, because if you watch the setup video, we chose to go by the default option of having wood in our starter base and papyrus. So having wood in your starter base makes it real easy to build these brown cards, because we're going to start the game with a wood available to us right away. So both of these are very viable to build. It's just now, which one do I want? I can tell you that the brown track scores us more points at the end of the game. The purple track is one of the key scoring at the end of Era 2. So moving up these 2 tracks is going to lead to some nice points. Building settlements is fantastic, and I found that they're very hard to build because the resource requirements are really difficult. And being able to build one for one less resource is amazing. And just to show you, the settlements are here along the top. And this one, for example, takes a papyrus and a wood. I'd have to spend both of these resources to build that settlement. And so if I can build that for one less, that's fantastic. And so that's what I'm faced with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these aside, and I'm leaning towards musical instruments, largely because I'm looking at the scoring opportunities that's going to give me. Otherwise, I think the crane is the clear winner if it wasn't for the fact that the two tracks that I'm going to move up are both going to give me extra points. I really do like the crane. It's you could flip a coin really on these. So let's go to the orange ones. So again, we got these two orange ones. This one is an end game scoring opportunity. So only at the end game. The number of cards and chips that are in that column will score a point. And I know I haven't explained that yet, but basically when you build your cards, they're going to go get tucked in your player board like this. And then this is considered stage one. That word right there, I know you can't read it real easy. It says stage one. So all these cards that are tucked into this bottom row are going to be stage one. Then these ones are stage two. And then you got stage 3 up here, and then stage 4 above there, and then there's a stage 5. This is stage 4, this is stage 5. You could go to stage 6 and beyond, but those don't get you anything. They're worthless. Stage 1 is going to get you 2 points for every card you put down in here. 3 points for everything that's in stage 2. 4 points for everything in stage 3. 7 and 10 for 4 and 5 if you can flip them over. They're currently inactive, so you have to find a way in the game to flip those over. So what this is getting at, remember I said the left one is for stage 1, right? So if I want to tuck this card into my player board up here, that's a stage 2 tuck. This is a stage 1 tuck here. This is a stage 3 tuck. And then over here on the right side, that's a stage 4 tuck. And then of course I would need something here to be able to call it a stage 5, which I actually will before we start the game. It's just something I know. We're going to actually get a card that's going to go here at the start of the game, which will be stage 4, and then you could actually tuck this as stage 5. So this is saying that you need one brimstone for stage 1. You need a gold for stage 2, and then here's that's a symbol for copper. And then over here, you can notice that's a white number, and it says you need to have 1 intelligence. So this is where this comes in. This card gives us an intelligence at the start of the game. So these two cards have synergy. Although I don't know if I'm going to build this as a stage 4 card, but if I wanted to build this as a stage 4 card, this card is the more attractive card for me. And when it's a white number, it means you don't have to spend it. See, the red numbers, you have to spend those. You're losing those resources. This, you just have to have 1 intelligence, and then you automatically qualify for stage 4. All right, so that's how you're going to look at your cards and determine which ones you're going to need. And then like, which of these two are we going to pick? Well, it's going to depend on, well, this one needs intelligence, so maybe, I want to choose the intelligence card. All right, so this one lets me convert 1 stored resource into 2 of another type. So this is a nice thing to do. Like right now we have access to wood. I could convert a wood into 2 of something else. This is an activity, which is something that's triggered when I do this particular action here, which is activity. So now these cards, when they're in your hand, they don't do anything for you. They only give you these bonuses once you've played them. And the only way you play them, like I said, is you have to meet these requirements and build it into whatever stage you build it in. All right, so that's that one. The other orange one, magnetism, is number of cards and chips in a column, which we were talking about. So if I tuck this in here, then I can actually tuck other cards behind it. So this is stage 1. I can tuck a card for stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, etc. Now, let me just get this out of the way. Another rule with this game is if I build an orange card here, only orange cards can be in this column. I can't put any other card color in that column. But there are income chips, which we put up at the start of the setup. They look like this. They say income over here on the left. If you'll notice on the bottom, it has a rainbow of colors because the income chip, it can count as a stage for any card color you'd like. So basically, the income chips can go anywhere. Otherwise, I am relegated to only orange cards in that column for the rest of the game. Orange cards or income chips, that's it. And there's other things we can put here. There are, for example, this is an objective token. They call it an objective chip. You can also put them down like so. And so that would count as a stage 1 objective chip. But if I do that, then I can only have objective chips in that column. And of course, I can always have income chips with it because the income chips, like I said, is a rainbow. It has all the colors. But this is another thing that you can use to fill up your rows. Okay, so, and then I believe, yes, and then your attributes can fill up another one. So these are attributes that your society can obtain. And here you can see you need 4 intelligence to get this attribute, but you will lose 1 if you take this chip. That is not a wild. That would require its own column again. All right, so I got to choose between 2 of these. This one looks like, okay, gosh, that could be a nice source of points, but that means you'd have to focus heavy on orange cards. Now, orange track does have nice bonuses, but you'll notice you don't move up the orange track when you build this one. And then this requires iron ore, which I don't know or have access to yet. So this is a toss-up, which one of those 2 I want. But both of them require intelligence. So that's the thing I'm keeping in mind, because I'm looking here and I'm trying to decide, okay, which one gives me intelligence. So here's another one that requires intelligence, and that's calendar. Or I can take the Mick Jagger stage play. But see, this one also requires vision, which I don't have. And vision's actually one of the harder ones to get. So this says, on the last turn of each era, in any order, activate a module and do a reset, irrespective of how many dice you have left on your dice bases. So calendar lets you get a free reset, which actually is pretty cool. I never saw this one yet. I like that one. And then the immediate bonus at the bottom is telling me I can complete an objective and draw another one. Well, actually it's an or. I can draw an objective or complete one. And then the stage play here is endgame scoring, number of cards and chips in this column again. And then you move up 2 on the purple track, which the purple track is an important one for Era 2 scoring. But I have to find some cotton to be able to do this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find cotton by Era 2. That's a tough order. But that's going to really dictate which one I choose, right? Do I choose the mouth or... Like this one I can put in stage 1 and not need the mouth. In order to put this in stage 1, I need at least 1 vision, which neither of these give me vision. So I have a bad starting card for that one. That calendar one is actually quite good if I would have had a vision. So this was just luck of the draw. If I would have just gotten one with a vision on it, that would have been an easy decision. All right, let's go to green. So we can get a fine sense of smell or hooves. So the hooves, as you can see, needs dexterity, or with the hand. And then the other one needs the lips, the Mick Jagger. So the one on the left says, when migrating, your tribe may additionally cross through hills and grasslands. So basically you can do an extra move. The one on the right says, each time before you perform a hunt, one of your tribes may migrate to an adjacent foreign territory. And then you get this is a favor of Ajira bump. Between these 2, I like the one on the right way more than the one on the left. Although the one on the left is going to be an easy build if I choose this card. I already satisfy the condition to build that immediately if I choose the card on the right. So, but I like the one on the left, or I'm sorry, I like the Fine Sense of Smell more. And then this one, these two look really difficult to build. I either need 2 sand for stage 1 or 2 iron ore for stage 1 for the arena, and both of these just give me bumps on the tracks. The brown track here is, both of these are endgame scoring bonuses, whereas these two, the blue one gives a bonus, but the green does not. So between the two, Observatory is just a clear winner, so I'm going to go ahead and take Observatory and we'll put the blue one away. So the blue one's chosen. I'm also going to choose so these two that give me points at the end of the game, they're not really that great. But I do like the fact that they give me bumps on the tech track, so I am going to take those. So I'm going to choose those. I'm not going to choose Calendar, although I wanted to. And I'm not going to choose Alchemy, which is the Insight. So I'm just putting these on the bottom of the decks. So we got those chosen. I have to choose the browns, so I'm going to choose the Musical Instrument. And then give up the Crane, although this is a great card. I wish we could draw that card later in the game, but it's now at the bottom of the deck. And then, yeah, I'm going to choose a Fine Sense of Smell instead of the Hooves, and we're going to go with the Intelligent and the Mick Jagger. So yes, there's a lot of AP at the beginning of the game, and when you have your buddies, or yourself, who's never played this before, this is why I think the game told you to just pick all the 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, or 6s. So if you just pick all the cards of the same number, this thought process is a little more streamlined for you, so you don't have to do so much analysis paralysis. But part of the reason I like this game is I think this is fun, like this, what we just went through, and trying to come up with a strategy and play it out. Okay, so now that I chose this as my starting markers, I do have to finalize my setup here, and so that means I'm going to put 1 on the clay, and 1 on the coal, like so. And then I need 1 Intelligence and 1 Mick Jagger. I gotta get rid of this. This is gonna be a disaster. All right, and so if I come up here, I get 1 Intelligence and 1 Mick Jagger. All right. You don't need this card anymore. So this you can call done and put it back in the box. All right, so now that we've done that, we can reveal these. So these, in a 2-player game, you always deal 1 more than a number of players. So if it's a 4-player game, there'd be 5 of these. And so what we do is we reveal these, and then in reverse player order, whoever's going last chooses first. So so you'll have to determine player order. And then here is a starting objective. So you got to grab your black bag, shake, 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 and then pick an objective for each one. And of course this one, we'll get into what these are in a second. So I'm just going to pull this closer to you and we'll talk about what these are. So what I'm going to choose is I'm basically choosing 3 things. This one is that I have a goal to, I have to find a brimstone. And if I'm willing to turn in 1 brimstone, I can complete this goal. This one here is on your player board. These are all of your actions in the game. And they have a tech level to them. So this is tech level 1. See the little blue pip right here? The blue digit. And then if you flip it over, there's 2 blue digits. And then down here, there's 3. So at level 1, it's going to look like this. At level 2, you flip that over. And at level 3, you just use what's written on the board. So each of these technologies get better, obviously, as you upgrade them. And what this is saying is that the invention is going to get a 1 upgrade right at the start of the game. So our civilization is going to have an improved invention action. And, we're going to be better than all the other ones at that. And then you get an income chip. And so this card is going to slide in here, and it's going to be at stage 4. That's why I was saying you actually have the ability to do a stage 5 at the start of the game. So at stage 4, you're going to have this income chip, and what this is the symbol for doing a favor check. So a favor check is you roll a pink die, and then whatever you roll has to be compared to the favor chart, which is here. So right now I'm at the lowest favor, right? So the only thing that passes a favor check is a 1, and I rolled a 6, which means I'm out of luck. If I was all the way to the end, then it doesn't matter what I roll. 1 through 6, all of it would have passed. So right here I would have needed a 1 to pass, and I didn't. Now there's things in the game like these, which are ideas, and there's a little symbology here that explains that I can spend one of these, and what that would let me do is take that 6 I rolled and increment it by 1, or decrement it by 1. And it does roll around. So I could have taken this 6, I could spend one of these, and then flip it to a 1, and then now I passed. That's actually some of the dice manipulation you get to do here. But you need to have these ideas to be able to pull that off. Now this is a focus. This is a wild card. It counts as any die. It doesn't help you much when you're rolling dice. It's more helpful when you're doing these actions, which we'll get into later. But so this income, where did the income go? What did I do with it? So what this is saying is every time I collect income, I can do a favor check, and if I pass, I can gain another objective. Gaining objectives is nice, but the whole favor condition is crap. You can always just choose to take a victory point instead of rolling the dice. But yes, you're at the mercy of rolling the dice for that income. I'm not a big fan of that income at all. This -1 brimstone is also really hard because I have no idea if we're going to find brimstone. Brimstone is in the hills, which is, and you can notice that here, that's the brimstone. It's one of the 3 hills locations, and we do start next to a hills, but the other 2 hills are here and there in the corner, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get a brimstone. We'll, but it's doable. There is a way to do a lucky find or some of these other things I haven't explained yet, and that brimstone could be had. So it is doable. So it's not impossible. Now the invention action is the last thing, and I just need to find it. Where is the invention action is this one right here. And what this one is it lets you do, on the left side, you could use one of your income chips, which remember we just said was this thing. That's the income chip you're going to start the game with. Or on the right side, you can play a brown card. So what it's going to let us do is we get to upgrade it to level 2. And so that would let us do 2 income chips or play a brown card. That's the advantage that one's given me. I'm not a fan of that advantage either. So I'm not liking that card in its entirety. Now this one requires a coal, and guess what we started the game with? A coal. We have a coal already, so I already have this satisfied. This one, when you do income, you just gain an objective. Look at this. Oh, I'm sorry. This one doesn't let you gain an objective. It lets you complete an objective. You still have to satisfy the objective. This one lets me gain an objective, which I think is more powerful, to be honest with you. And I don't have to do any luck rolls. I just get to gain one. And then here I get to upgrade my exploration, which is a pretty good point scoring one. I like this one. In fact, this is the one I got last night when I played against my friends. This is the exact same card. The only thing that's different is I got a different objective. So I had this exact card. And then there's this one, which during your income phase, you get to transport 1 resource, which is what this means, or you can stand a guy up if they're knocked over. And these are concepts we haven't talked about yet. We get to upgrade production, but you need to have 2 mutations is the objective. 2 mutations is 2 green cards need to be played. That's a tall order. But to get to the exploration here, for the first card I was talking about, there's an exploration action that you get to do on the left, and on the right, this is called a lucky find. If it's upgraded, you get to do an exploration action where you get to peek at one more tile anywhere on the board, and you get an extra 2 points just automatically. And the lucky find is still unchanged on the right. So that's the card I was just drooling over. And then the third card, which actually the income action is excellent. I like the excellent of the income. And then the production is not bad either. So this is your production. On the left, it's saying you can produce 2 resources. On the right, actually, there is no left and right on this one. You produce 2 resources, and then you do a lucky roll, a favor roll. And if you pass, you then get to transport one of them. So just real quick, since I said we're going to explain it as we go, produce means that you put these on the board. So this represents 1 wood, because wood is the resource that's in that territory, right? If I produce, I'm putting another wood out there. And then, since this says I can produce twice, I can produce 2 wood, or I can pick another territory. Any territory that I have a tribesperson, I can produce a resource. But when you produce them, they're not yours yet. They're only yours if they're here. So, I mean, technically, they're not stored until they're here. So that's what the transport action does. Transport lets you take one of those and store it. And produce and transport are 2 different actions on the board. Transport is right here, and this is produce. So this third one here, which is actually, this is excellent, and we're going to find out how this is. This is going to be hard, but if we flip this over, I can now produce 3 resources, and I no longer have to do a favor check. I automatically get to transport 1. So I produce 3 and get 1 of them right away. That's powerful. That's a really good upgrade. So this one is for sure out. I'm going to return that. I'm not even looking at or passing go or collecting $200 on that one. So that one's out. It's really a toss-up between these. This income is better than that income. I would say that this one will get me more points than that one. But this one will be more useful than that one. Like, in terms of helping me accomplish things in the game. I automatically have this one. I would have to work really hard to accomplish that one. So, what is it that I want to do? And what's interesting is this lets me produce a bunch, right? This will let me transport. So I can almost like transport resources back through my income actions without having to use the transport action. And being able to skip an action is nice. Okay, I ended up getting a phone call, as you may have heard. I don't know how the recordings work here. And I also seem to have lost my camera. So let me restart this. There we go. So I ended up receiving a phone call while I was recording. And I apologize if things got a little wonky there. Unfortunately, I was planning to record the entire night, and now my night is cut short. So I'm going to choose my card, and then I guess we're going to have to start the playthrough in the next video. Please accept my apologies. But let me grab my card. I want to try this one. I really do. Everything in my fiber is telling me, though, that this is the better, because it's an objective I already have met. So I'm going to take the one on the left. And my reasoning is I had this exact same card last night, and I just want to play a different game. I do have a coal, which the chances of you having that resource is it's pretty rare, actually. So the fact that I was able to pull this off was even more impressive, and then I ended up rejecting it. So you put your objective here, and then there's spots for 3 of them. You don't want more than 3. You can take more than 3, and then you just pile them up. But you get this bonus every time you empty a column. And if you start piling more and more on top of each other, then you're never going to get the bonus. And completing an objective doesn't get you anything other than it lets you put stuff out here, which is why the coal one was attractive. But I like the income that this one gives more. And so what you do is you slide this in. So that's going to be income for the game. And then you take your production action, which is this one, and you upgrade it to level 2, like so. So now we're ready to start the game. And my apologies. I had every intention of doing this, but I got to respond to that phone call, and life happens. But we'll come back, and we'll get started. And my apologies. I said this was going to be the actual playthrough. It'll be the next video. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.